Uh-oh. I've come down to the train room and everything's on. I think I went up quickly for dinner last night and didn't come back down, and now I've left the trains on all night. Nothing bad seems to have happened, but I don't like doing that. Well, hello again. We had a rather successful day yesterday with the street, didn't we? I'm looking around and thinking, what should we do today? Because I really don't want to build a retaining wall on a Saturday afternoon. Let's have some fun and run some trains. This is not just a Ian go play trains thing. This is a let's see what these trains actually do. This one ran very nicely from that platform into the big station and back. Now, it's not going to go to the big station, at least at this point it isn't. But what does the other underground train do, and the one that's hiding in the tunnel? What do they do? Do they do the same as that, from that point to the other point? And that will tell me if the block is set up correctly or if the trains need setting up. So we're just going to run a couple of underground trains. There's a little bit of a problem. The class 20 is in the way, and there is a 4 EMU sitting behind it somewhere. In fact, I rather believe there's 2 of them. There's one over there, and there's another one there. That fiddle yard often gets forgotten, but the underground train is there. So a quick overview with the ordinary operation of the whole layout. This station, these 2 platforms are both underground and overground. So there's a number of examples of that in real life. If we extend that way into a fiddle yard, things may change. But for now, the underground trains then from there through the tunnel, well, there's the thing, into the other station on the end board, which is going to get remade. So the underground trains, that's what they do. In amongst that, the 4 EMUs come in and out of those 2 platforms and in and out of that platform certainly. And recently I've been thinking about, well, what if I run them off into that end fiddle yard? I haven't got quite that far yet, but something like that. I've just noticed a carriage laying on its side. That's where, because I was under the street reaching up for cables. We'll sort that out too. With EMUs and underground both on there and back shuttles, that really takes the pressure off the upper loop. Now, the upper loop, the trains that go up there really well are the steam hauled and the night mail. Those do handle that very nicely. So the 47, the 40, that goes up there nicely too. And the Battle of Britain class seem not to struggle too much. The schools class locomotives, there's 2.5 of those. Both have traction tire issues, and I've got to get some and get them installed, but that's a down the line thing. So you can see how the normal operation is developing. Goods is not a heavy goods layout. There are a couple of goods trains, mostly scenic, I think you call them these days. They're chugging along from one place to another. Really need to get a rake of coal wagons because, well, I grew up in the southeast, very close to Betsanger Colliery, so got to do that. And I went down Tilmanston Colliery. So the Tilmanston wagons, I don't have those. They're must get a couple of those, just saying. Never saw them in real life. They were always the grey wagons. Anyway, I'm talking too much and reminiscing too much. Let's get some trains running. There is room to get my hand over the top of it, but only just. There we go. That's back together. Right. On with it. Well, the first thing is going to get the 68 stock out of the way, isn't it? Well, the point's all set. I love the way the lights flicker occasionally on that. But I've said a number of times, I really wish they had joined the second and third cars together electrically. Yeah, on this recent holiday we took, I was sitting at Crewe Station noticing just how many cables run between carriages these days. We're all, as modelers, trying to reduce the number, and there they are in real life throwing them in as if copper were going out of business. Be interested to see what happens here, because it's oh yeah, it stopped right in the middle of that section. I'm going to put the lights on because it's dark under there and I prefer it. This is yesterday's project still sitting up there, so we can remove that. Insulators, must put those away. I love the way this thing takes a hot minute to start up. Very much a favourite locomotive. Let's see if we can get it to come here. Not really sure what it was waiting for there. Well, it stopped right where it's supposed to. That's a good thing. We need to put it somewhere. Now, this is the one that's been poorly, but it is running. Seriously thought about getting another one of these in a different livery. Very, very nice locos. And I know the carriages aren't quite right, but I like it, so stop it. Lovely scene. Still haven't got the back scene up there behind the station. That is high on the list of things to do. May well get done this afternoon, but not for this video. Yeah, that'll look lovely with a field behind it. And of course our new street scene is special retaining wall, Ian, retaining wall. Too early in the morning for a rave up at the pub. Just noticed that it's a piece of wood, I'm guessing from the hole I drilled through the baseboard for the cables for the street. I wonder how many layouts have TARDIS, or is it TARDI? Don't start. I wonder how many layouts have a TARDIS. How about that? My son and I both know what a TARDIS is. My wife asked, "What's a TARDIS?" We said, "Your handbag." It's a very mean thing to say, but it was very true. See, look at this. Now, so far, all we've done is had some fun. Now, the serious bit starts. We need to know, where does that train stop in the fiddle yard? It's heading for its home track, so should stop about there. You see, and this is the trouble. Look where it's ended up. It's run on, and it's right on the points. Now, you would go days before you realise that had happened, because there's a hillside here. You might be running it next, but it needs to stop there. at very least. So that's an issue. I'm going to write it down. That is how distractions start, because I've written that down. I almost clicked program and have a look to see what the problem is. No, we're on to moving the class 20, which is busy chugging away in the background, moving it out of the way. And there it goes. The computer does not have control, I do, but I'm also taking pictures, so I'm going to have to be a bit quick. Now the idea is to bring it into one of these platforms here, but as soon as you see the back of the train go by, I'm going to have to run and stop it. Otherwise it will plough into something. There it comes. Doing a lovely job. Right, see you in a minute. You missed the shunting move, but just one. Just moving this over to the other platform. I'm not sure that it works on that one. We'll see. Yeah, it stops a bit long, but that's all right. We'll fix that. So let me write that down. Now there should be no reason why this other red later version of the underground trains shouldn't stop in the same place the other one does, but let's have a look. Marginally longer, but yes, that's just fine. So those two work. Need to move one of them, so we're going to move this one over to the big station, simply because I want to see, does it stop well there? So the 1960 stock then takes off nicely. These things run beautifully, I will say. The things I don't like about them I've got to get over, because I keep talking about them. Would I buy more of them? Well, of course I would. Will I? Probably not. Is that contradictory? It's all about money. To buy things, you have to have it. Well, that's interesting. It's okay, but it is stopping in a different place. So I need to compare the programming of those two. Good. So with two tracks here, one there, and three at the other end, you can put all three underground trains away, as it were, at the other end, whilst running EMUs in and out of here. You can run one of these in here and put the class 20, which is underground, and the tunnels are big enough. You could put it into the fiddle yard there. And of course you have the two EMU sitting in the bay platform there, going back and forth. Getting there, it's a lot of fun. So just really a running session today. I'm going to go and walk the dogs, come back and see if I can remember where I was. See you in a bit. We know this doesn't work, but it's not going to crash into anything. I'm trying to park it in that section. Whoa! Where's it going? Where's it? Well, it's gone a bit far is the only thing. It should be there somewhere. I'm going to have a quick look at the other end of that. You know, it is clear of the points. I'd still want it a little bit further back, but that is clear, which is interesting. The point is over, I don't know if you can see that. You can see it better there, look, you see? The oldest of the fleet. It's actually the first one I bought and fell in love with it. It's going over to the platform for the EMUs and will stop short, I think. It really hasn't. Look, I mean, it could do with being a little further in, but that's fine. So now all the platforms are full, which is what we need so that I can get the EMUs out of the tunnels. This is one of those EMUs that need some programming and a little bit of work. Some of the lights work, some don't, and it's supposed to have stopped there and has run on. The funny thing is it stopped quite nicely in the station, but it has run on a full section of track, so clearly the programming of that one needs a little bit of work. It's almost brand new. It does have sound. I don't know what the coding on that one is, but do you see the lighting works in the first carriage, sometimes does in the second. Come on. So there's something loose there, but there's none in the third and the fourth. So we need to have a look at that. I do not like the way those connections work. I don't think I did anything wrong, and certainly the connections are not bent up. But that was new out of the box. Let's get the other one out. We will program that before I start fooling around with it, but let's get the other one out. We can now put this back in the, shouldn't have brought that one out actually, put this one back in the other platform before I send it off to the tracks over there on the branch line. So now once it's over this junction, that's interesting. It hasn't stopped in the right place at all. Huh. So we have an issue with just that train, because the other two didn't they? So we're going to have a quick look at the programming of that, and I'll see what the difference is between it and the others. It's got to be the train, because the other two both stop nicely in that platform. Well, that's jolly weird. I've changed the programming in the computer for this one to match the other two, and yet it's still doing the same thing. Yes. This is one of those situations where I'm sure the silver one was actually right, even though it was doing the wrong thing. It's all about speed profiling and all that good stuff. I could be fooling around for hours with it. The others haven't been programmed. This one has. So there's something amiss there. We will sort that out later, but I can still pop it in the underground station yard where the EMU came from. And again, the older stock stopped exactly where it was supposed to, even though the programming is wrong. It'll disappear into the tunnel. Should arrive back here with the other one in just a moment. There it is. I'm going to move it forward. It's sitting on the points. So again, distance is in there, not set up at all. Once the layout is rebuilt at this end, you would have visibility to two tube trains with their lights on under those arches, sitting in the tube station, which is down there. The grey one again came in short. I did move it a little bit, but the other one's more or less there, the end of the line being just up there. So yeah, that's fine. Now this train isn't in the system. It's been sitting back there waiting for some work to be done on it. As you can see, it's a little bit of a iffy runner. Here's what my problem with it was. I couldn't remember which number it was. It's number 90 as per the head code. It's actually running fairly nicely slowly, but does need some work. Come on, you can do it. I need to get it into the system so that the computer can look after it. It's that's what I used to go to school on. The combination of those three There was a all blue version of this, similar to that, but not that. The ones we went to school on all had the first class accommodation with the two loos in the middle. The loos were, I assume, facing each other, but one went to first class and one went to the rest of the train. The only time we were allowed in there is if we got what was called a sardine special, so only 2 carriages came in instead of the usual 4 or 8, and then they told us we could use the first class section as 2, because simply there were too many of us to fit in the 2. And of course all the bullies and the upper school boys would get first class. It was about 6 or 8 miles, really didn't matter. Looking back, who cares? But that's what that station will look like when it's completely full of EMUs. So the sequence then, we can't run today, but the sequence, because that train needs a bit of work, but the sequence would be those 2 trains heading off out into the big station, presumably arriving here, before heading that way into the fiddle yard. Well, in the time it's taken to turn the camera around, I have done a little bit of work on that train. Still not sure I've got the lighting sorted out, but I need to get that still into the computer. But let's give it a try. Well, there it goes. Sorta, kinda. Come on. Since that's the Deal signal box, this is very appropriate, isn't it? Wonder how many times that box saw these trains. Well, the 1960s stock, off you go. Lovely. Stopped a bit far forward again this time. Interesting. Need to look at all that, don't I? So that scene then would be very, very common if I were running the way I intend. So the underground trains then, you would have 1 or 2 of them here at any one time, or none. The way you would have none in the branch would be by having 2 of them here, and 1 of them on the siding in the background there. This, of course, is how you would have 1. It would either be in that platform or that platform. 2, you occupy both, and then there'd be 1 at the other end. So you could run a schedule that would do that. Now, at the same time, there's 3 of these. Is there 3? 1, 2, yeah, there are 3. There's one with sound and a buffet. That's that one in front of us. There's the one there that needs to go to the hospital. And then there's the blue one, which is hiding in the, you see the white light down there, which is hiding in the fiddle yard. So those would then have the opportunity of doing their thing. There are 3 roads available in the fiddle yard, so all 3 of them, in theory, could be parked in there. But then the 2 steam trains that are there would need to be out on the layout, which is fine. So that's starting to come together. Now the 20, it too could go into the underground fiddle yard, couldn't it? Since it's a rather special train. But there's plenty of space. There's 2 tracks here that are unoccupied at this point. There is the blue and grey that could be in the fiddle yard, but all 3 platforms are occupied there. So it is a bit tight, even with only half the trains that I own on the layout. So the fiddle yard here is looking likely, isn't it? So there goes the 1960s stock. I've asked it to go into the fiddle yard under the underground station. Love the way it lights the tunnel up. I was going to say we should see it come in there, but we haven't because it's stopped. It's stopped there. It's actually on the siding, so I'm going to leave it there. But it has stopped short again, so it doesn't know to continue. The way this works is this divides, once you come out of the tunnel, it divides, and the illusion is that those are the two platforms. They're not. This divides again there, look, you see. So this is going off to the fiddle yard. But yeah, that's fine there. I'm not going to tempt fate. But yeah, it's on the siding, so I'm happy with that. So at this point, I've got 3 underground trains on the underground only part of the layout. Well, almost underground only. We've got a couple of blue and grey there. Do you know, at one point, I really didn't like the blue and grey. It's funny how it's grown on me over the years, and now I have it. I kind of like it. That one needs to get into the programming track and get sorted out. That's the one with sound. Sounds lovely, but I can't make it work right now because it hasn't been programmed. This one needs some physical work, but you can start to see how the sequence is coming together, at least in my head. We'll be back on with the build the next time. I think I'm going to get on with some programming this afternoon if I feel like it. It is absolutely gorgeous outside. What am I doing in the basement? I walked the dogs this morning and it was so warm. Yeah, we've got an Indian summer, haven't we? But the street does need a little bit of help. It's got to have that retaining wall put on, and then the trees and all of that good stuff. And then we'll have an opening ceremony, shall we? Thanks for watching. You know what to do. Video up here, subscribe here, and if you want to be a member, you'll get to see the videos earlier. See you next time now. Bye-bye.